money to spend. You can drive like you're going crazy and be held back by the wind. You can live wild and free and feel like you can fly, but you can't win the race if you don't qualify. If you don't qualify, you can't go to the winner's circle and hold that trophy high. There's lots of fame and fortune that reaches far and wide, but you can't win the race if you don't qualify. No, you can't win the race if you don't qualify.
And that's exactly right. You can't win that race on Sunday if you don't qualify first. And that's what we're going to try to do today from right here in Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, for the qualifying NASCAR Winston Cup style for the Goodies 500. And folks, hey, you can't qualify if it's raining, and it's been raining a good bit of the afternoon here at Martinsville Speedway. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with two-time NASCAR champion Ned Jarrett, and welcome to Martinsville. We got a lot of things in store for you today. Yes, it has been raining, but the rain is beginning to sort of dissipate a little bit, going away a little bit, Ned, and we may get a chance to get qualifying in.
But certainly there are a lot of fans here that hope so, and a lot of drivers down there that hope so too, because there are more cars here than there are spots in the field. And if they don't, if they're not up there in the points, if they'd have to go by points, there are many drivers that have to go home for that reason.
Now, what's at stake today? You want to be on the pole because it started up front, of course, in a Winston Cup race, but you want to get in that Busch Clash. There were, take a look at the drivers who have already qualified for the Busch Clash, at 50-mile dash for cash in Daytona in February. Jeff Gordon by far leading in poles with 8. We had in Darlington a couple of weeks ago, we only had 10 cars that had qualified, 10 drivers had qualified for the Clash, and now, Ned, we've added 2 more.
Yeah, John Andretti won the pole at Darlington for the Mountain Dew Southern 500, and Rick Mast put his name on the list last week at Dover, Delaware, which was his 3rd career Busch pole, but the first this year. And then there will also be 2 other drivers that will be added after the season is over, and that is the driver who wins the most poles in the NASCAR Busch Series and a wild card entry from the second-day qualifiers.
And you saw David Green, Busch pole leader thus far in Busch competition. He should be in that Clash as well. Now, we could add another driver today because earlier today in practice, there were some names up there that maybe surprised you at home. It won't surprise us at all, one of which was Bobby Hamilton, Ned, and what a great run Hamilton had last week at Dover, Delaware.
Great run, finished in 2nd place up there and was very fast here today in practice.
He was among the top 2 or 3 in practice, and so why don't we check and see if our Benny Parsons can possibly catch up with Bobby Hamilton.
I've looked all over this place. I walked from the 1st corner to the 3rd corner. Could not find this guy. Where have you been?
Well, I was hanging out at Sterling Martin's truck. Then I went by. I've just been visiting. And you know how it is when it's raining. Everybody wants to visit and gossip.
But, I mean, you got a chance to sit on the pole. The car is very fast. You ought to be sitting here studying, sitting on the pole.
I'm just trying to keep my mind off of it. Sometimes during qualifying, Benny, you know yourself, when you think about it a lot, then you catch yourself trying too hard or trying to reinvent a lap. So I just been out trying to keep my mind occupied elsewhere.
Car's been awful fast the last couple of weeks.
Really has, and you know, we figured it would be the second half of the season, and we've been fast at a lot of other racetracks. We just, strategy hadn't been right for us, things like that, but the guys have really been working hard, and we want to be up on that stage, you know, top 10 in points, and that's why we're digging.
Hey, you about caught that 24 car at Dover, and that car has been hard to catch for anybody, and you guys almost caught him up there.
I know it. I was telling Ray Abraham earlier, I said, I walk in to do the sign-up sheet this morning. He's ahead of me. I said, everywhere I go, I'm running second to you guys. I qualify second outside pole at Indy to him, at Richmond, then I run second to him. One of these days, I'm going to get him, and when I do, it's going to be bad.
It's going to be, you're going to be really happy.
Yeah, I'm going to really be happy. But I want to tell you what, them guys have really done their homework. You can't take nothing away from them. And it really impressed me the way that guy raced me the other day running for the championship. You know, we was really close going into 3 down there, almost rubbed. And I sort of gave for him because I said, boy, that's all I need. This guy's got 75% of the race fans. If I was to spin him out, I'd be out of here. So I figured I'd just wait till another time.
Well, I tell you what, the racetrack is still dry, and there's about 45 trucks over on the other side. You can check all those trucks out before qualifying.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'd like to drive one of them trucks. I was over looking at a couple of them. I've been trying to bum a ride, but I can't talk anybody into it yet.
Here's a guy hitchhiking and can't catch a ride. Another guy who has the pole this year is with John Kernan.
Well, Benny, you talked about Bobby Hamilton's run at Dover last week. How about Rusty Wallace? Starting all the way to the back of the pack, fighting the way back to finish 3rd in that race. But as we were talking just a minute ago, Rusty, still don't have a pole this year, even though you've won a race here, or won a couple races.
Yeah, And I told you what I think about it, too. You know, it'd be nice to get a pole, but I've always wanted to sit in the grandstands to watch the Busch Clash. Now, every time I run that race, I lose about 10,000 bucks running the thing, but it's fun to be in. And it does give you a little practice for the 125s and the 500 at Daytona. But, hey, that's one race, and there's a lot of races on this schedule. And, yeah, I do want to get a pole, and I probably got a good shot at it today. Hope I can do it.
Yeah, everybody was telling me this morning you were among the fastest. Now, this isn't midnight. You guys crashed that. Which car is this?
It's a car named Ronnie that we won Richmond with a couple weeks ago, and we won the first Martinsville race here with. It's a good car, and it's capable also.
What about winning the pole, though? I mean, you say you might have a shot here. You know, how seriously are you putting emphasis on that?
I don't, you know, yeah, I want to qualify good. Yeah, I want to sit on a pole, but it's just no big deal to me, you know? I mean, I just don't get all wrapped up in it. I try to spend all my time on the chassis during the race. I've started 40th last week and finished 3rd, 24th in a brickyard and almost won. I've won so many races from crappy starting position, it's unreal. I'm just not a good qualifier. I guess next year I'll work harder trying to do a better job, only because I need to and because you get better pit positions with that. But, you know, I'm not giving up on the pole stuff, no doubt about it. I've run really good here and I've run good a lot of places, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, not only is Rusty a really great race car driver, a chassis man and everything, but you know a little something about fixing satellites to tune in our show, don't you?
Well, I'm not too good at it. I had to bring a crew in to get that satellite pointer right so they can start watching all the stuff you guys are talking about.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Rusty. We'll let you get back up there and watch the rest of the show. Rusty Wallace, 4 of the last 5 races he's won here at Martinsville, Jerry.
And he has 2 wins this year, John. Still looking for that first pole, as you mentioned. Now, he'll go out 9th in qualifying. Once qualifying does get underway, he'll be the 9th car to go out. And Bobby Hamilton, you'll have to wait till the very end to see if Bobby can put the STP Pontiac, Richard Petty's car, on the pole here for the first time in 1995. Hamilton will go out 40th, which will be one of the last cars to qualify. Now, they are drying the track right here now, but earlier this afternoon, we had a downpour about an hour and a half ago, and during the downpour, NASCAR had a test, Ned, about a half an hour ago.
Yeah, Terry Labonte in the Kellogg Chevrolet went out to do a little run on rain tires while the track was wet and while it was raining. And there we can see him headed out onto the track with those rain tires on the car.
Remember, they tested the rain tires with Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt up at Watkins Glen on the road course in a shower, but the first time, folks, you're seeing it here, a first ever rain tires being used by a NASCAR Winston Cup stock car on a short track, and he's tiptoeing.
Yeah, he's tiptoeing. You can't blame him either because he doesn't know how well those tires would stick on that wet pavement. He knows if he had on the regular race tires that he couldn't go in there at any kind of speed. You see him slip a little bit there coming off of turn 4. Had the stopwatch on him. He was running within about 5.5 to 6 seconds of what the qualifying record is here at Martinsville, and he didn't extend it.
You're kidding me. He was that quick?
Yeah, it sort of surprised me. I thought he'd be about, you know, it'd take him almost twice as long to make a lap as it did in regular qualifying, but it was not.
In that case, he wasn't tiptoeing. Well, let's find out what Terry Labonte had to say about that run in the rain. Here's John Kernan.
Well, Terry, you had the rain tires on the car. You went out and ran some laps. So you get a little squirrely out there. What did it feel like?
Felt like it looked. You know, it didn't turn real good in the middle of the corner, and then you had to be careful coming off the corner because it would feel good, and all of a sudden it'd break loose. So it was just a deal that NASCAR is kind of looking at to see if there's any possibility there that we might be able to start racing with the conditions that the track's a little bit wet.
Now, these are the same tires that they had at Watkins Glen. How much more development do you think they need to get it right?
Well, you know, it's hard to say, and I think it's just a test, and they want to see if there's any possibilities there, and just go from there, I guess.
It wasn't scary, was it?
Well, I came in and I told them, I said, now I know why those Formula One guys make so much money.
That's a great answer, Jerry.
Terry Labonte out there driving in the rain. And Ned, you know, what is the idea behind the rain tires? I mean, obviously the fans are a primary concern. They want to make sure the fans don't leave a racetrack without seeing a race, but they really wouldn't start a race, would they?
No, I don't think that's the intent of NASCAR or Goodyear, either one, that they would start a race in the rain. But there are many times that they have to sit there for an hour or more while they're drying the track, and maybe they could start the race when the track is damp. Not as much as it was raining here today. I don't think that we'd ever see them, or that's at least not in the thinking at this time, start a race race under those conditions, but maybe they could get a race started an hour earlier if the track was just damp.
And you got to believe, as tight as the Winston Cup schedule is, NASCAR would like to be able to make sure they get these races in. And so if it would be a mist falling, they could put the rain tires on, get out and run the race. The fans don't get cheated. They don't have to go back and spend another night in the hotel room and all that extra expense. They get to be able to see a race, even though it may be a little bit more exciting with those rain tires on.
Just look at the variety that you would have there. I mean, can you imagine starting a race on a damp racetrack with rain tires, and then, of course, knowing when to come in and change and put on the dry track tires? I think it'd make an event more exciting.
Speaking of variety, we got a big weekend coming to you here from Martinsville Speedway. Take a look tonight. Speed Week coming up 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Bob Jenkins will be there having all the action. Tomorrow, NASCAR Today, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. The Goodies 150. Ernie Irvan makes a return. The Super Truck competition. That's 10 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN 2. Goodies 150 NASCAR Super Truck Series action. Then Sunday, NASCAR Today, noon Eastern Time on ESPN 2. Our live flag-to-flag coverage. The 40th annual Goodies 500, 12:40 p.m. Eastern, ESPN. Followed by Jeff Gordon on Shop Talk at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And RPM Tonight coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN 2. We told you Ernie Irvan's making a comeback. We'll talk to him when we come back live to Martinsville Speedway after this. Back at Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, we told you that this weekend is very special. One of the most incredible comebacks in all of sports history. Ernie Irvan 13 months ago, a 10% chance of surviving, but now he's back in a race car, and he said it on Tuesday.
It's been a year and a month or however many days, and it seemed like it's been about 10 years, but then again, it seems like it was just not too long ago that we went to Naples, Florida, and did a test with Ford, and had a great time. And I guess we all kind of realized that I didn't forget everything. So that's kind of what has led on to what we're doing now, and being able to come back racing. And you know, I have never ever regretted to want to be able to come back, and it's been what I've worked for the whole time.
There were those who said he would not survive, but now he stands here live at Martinsville getting ready to drive again, Benny Parsons.
Ernie, had to be very, very special this morning when you jumped in that truck and went back racing.
I tell you, it really did. You know, probably the most special point is going to be when they say, gentlemen, start your engines. And we're going to override everything that could happen, the rain and that sort of stuff. So, but it's a great moment.
And the truck is pretty fast.
Yeah, you said car.
I know it did. Sorry, truck.
$10. Oh yeah, truck is running really good. You know, got a new sponsor with the truck, and Napa and United and Texaco, and great supporters, and also No Fear.
Now, you gonna try to win this thing? I mean, is that what you're here for, to try to win, or you just here to run the race?
They're gonna throw the green flag, aren't they?
Okay, now I'm asking a serious question. You gonna try to win, or you just gonna ride around?
You know me, Benny. You know, I'm just gonna probably just ride around and just see what kind of job I could do. You know, I guess.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
Did I not sound serious?
Not very, no.
Oh man. Yeah. You know, when they throw the green flag, I'm gonna do the best job I can. And you know, we've worked on this truck for the whole day here today, and tried to get the chassis handling really good on it. And we just went right back to exactly what we come here with. So we're gonna work on it a little more in the morning, and you know, hopefully we'll get it good enough. But them guys in the truck division, they're a lot tougher than people think.
I know they are. Next Friday morning at North Wilkesboro, you jump in the Texaco Havoline number 88 back in Winston Cup. Again, another very special day. Have you been to North Wilkesboro and tested?
Yeah, we sure did. You know, we went up there and tested, and man, my first 2 laps on the racetrack was the 2 quickest I ran the whole day, or the whole 2 days. And I was hoping I could at least make it better, but we didn't, you know. And but we had a good test, and learned a little bit, and it's still the same Wilkesboro. There's going to be a lot of cars go home, and we hope we're one of the guys that qualify fast enough.
No points to fall back on up at North Wilkesboro.
No, and you know, when I told Larry Mack that, I said, you know, hey, we don't even have no points or nothing. You know, we got to qualify good. And he says, Ernie Irvan, you were on the pole the last 2 times you were there, and you're worried about qualifying for the race? I said, hey, Larry, I mean, you know, I'm looking at these fields, and they're getting tighter and tighter.
Jerry, is it good to see this guy back or what?
I tell you, Benny, it is absolutely wonderful. I went down and saw Ernie this morning. I think his face is going to get tired. He has been smiling from ear to ear since he walked in this racetrack, and rightfully so, Ned. What an incredible comeback.
Well, it really is. There's been certainly a lot of prayers said for him over the years, and he credits that with a lot of his success of being able to come back. And it really is good to see him back here at the Martinsville Speedway in North Wilkesboro next week. And there he is in the number 28 truck.
That's his Ford truck, United. He said to sponsors, Napa, No Fear. This racetrack very special to Ernie Irvan as you watch the truck that he will compete in, and you'll see it tomorrow night as you saw on ESPN2. And other news coming up, a lot of things happening in Winston Cup ranks. Been a lot of changes.
Yeah, the silly season, as they call it in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, it gets more interesting every year, it seems like. And a lot of the voids are being filled right now. Hut Strickland was named this week to drive the Stavola Brothers car number 8 that Jeff Burton will get out of at the end of the season. Of course, he's going over to the new third team that Jack Roush will have running in 1996. And Bobby Hamilton and Bobby Allison. Boy,
right,
I'm lost here. Bobby Allison exercised the option they had on Derek Cope, so he'll be back in the straight arrow Ford again next year. And also
Michael Waltrip, we are told there's some rumors that Michael Waltrip is going to make a move. The word here in Martinsville, the Wood brothers are a nearby Stewart, that maybe Michael will be in that car possibly next year. Do you see that's the Pennzoil Pontiac that Michael will drive here this weekend? Barry Dotson, he was the crew chief for Kyle Petty, so he has resigned, and a number of guys have gone with him, Jim Long and Mike Ford. Now,
all of that team have left there, and Mike Ford is going to work for Robert Yates, supposedly on the new team that he'll have next year that Dale Jarrett will drive for. And Morgan Shepherd, of course, released from the Wood Brothers team. And what I was trying to say about Bobby Hamilton there a moment ago, he and Richard Petty have re-upped with each other, a handshake deal again for 1996.
Let's see, Strickland's going, Hamilton's going to stay put, and we know that Michael Waltrip. Well, anyway, we'll figure it out in a minute. But I think Benny Parsons has caught up with one driver who's still got some decisions to make. Benny?
Morgan Shepherd, the driver of the Citgo Ford. A couple of weeks ago, you found out you will not be driving the Citgo Ford next year. You know what you're going to do?
Not yet, Benny. Like I said, it just come up quick, and I'm looking for a ride now, and it's just something I wasn't really prepared for.
Man, that was had to be quite a shock. But you talked to some people. Are the opportunities out there?
Well, there's some opportunities out there, and it was a shock because I talked to Eddie and them back at Daytona back in July, and the conversation then, because I'd heard rumors that I was still their driver, and then not more than a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, they had FedExed me a thing down saying I was their driver for 96, and they'd signed it. Everything was the same. And then next thing I know, I get released. So, but anyhow, I'm going to go right on, do them a good job, and leave on good terms. And I'm looking for a ride.
How's the car running here today?
Yeah, not very fast. We come over here and tested, and we could never get a lot of speed out of the car. But the race setup seems to be real good. A qualifying effort, that's been one of the things that's been wrong. We just haven't been able to get the speed we'd like to see.
We got one guy looking for a ride, another guy who found a ride. He's with John Kernan.
Well, that's Hut Strickland, and Hut, an announcement this week made. You're going over to the Stavola team for next year. Pretty excited about it?
Well, I really am, John. You know, Billy Stavola has got a great opportunity, a great race team over there, and, it's really an unfortunate thing that we wasn't able to put things together here with Kenny Bernstein because, he's got a great race team also, and but, things are starting to come down the end of the season. I had to make a decision, and, I couldn't think of a better opportunity than to go there.
You were kind of on the outside looking in earlier this year and got caught on with this team after they made the change, I guess right around Bristol back in the spring. And it's been a good opportunity for you, and you've gotten back into the attention of everybody, of all these other Winston Cup owners, haven't you?
Well, I really have. I'll tell you, all the credit has to go to all these guys on this team. They do a great job on preparing these cars, and just to give me a good race car week in and week out, and it sure does make me look good too. But
you know, those guys, I really have to give all the credit to them, because it's my job is such a small part of it that it's all them.
Well, I'll tell you, Jerry, I had to bring Hut away from his television set. He wanted to know if we could do the interview in there so he could watch himself on TV. He's watching the show right now. So, Hut, we'll let you go back inside. Thanks.
Okay, Hut Strickland and the fans have the umbrellas out. There are 42 cars set to qualify when the track is dry. The rain still somewhat of a sprinkle coming down at Martinsville Speedway. We are trying to dry the track. We got a special treat for you, though. Two things are going to happen. We're going to stay here live and cover Winston Cup qualifying. We're going to stay here all afternoon, and we're also going to give you a chance to see a race in case you missed it. The NASCAR Super Truck Series event, the Fast Smart 150 from Richmond International Raceway. That was run a couple weeks ago. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back. And we'll come back and tell you what's happening with track drying competition. There's the jet dryers, and then we'll show you some great trucks on the short tracks. Still coming down. We're trying to dry the track here. Now, we told you we're going to stay here live at Martinsville, but in the meantime, we're going to be showing you very shortly some exciting NASCAR Super Truck racing action, a race that happened a couple weeks ago at Richmond, Virginia. And Benny Parsons, you were there, and what an exciting show that was.
I was there. Was you were there, right? It was Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was exciting, and it was wet going into it, as I remember. No, that was earlier, wasn't it? That was Bristol.
That was Bristol. And you were there, Hornaday.
I was there.
Ron Hornaday was there in the 16 Papa John's truck. It was exciting, wasn't it?
It was rather exciting, real exciting.
That's all you
That's all I'm going to say, yeah. You'll see the results.
You folks, you'll see he really run good, didn't you?
That's one of the better trucks we had. Doug Richards, the guy's done a great job getting that truck prepared. Ran up front with all the Cup guys and what we expected to do and everything, and we had an altercation towards the end.
It was exciting. Folks, trust me. Tell them.
I wonder, well, yeah, it was exciting. We ought not give it away, should we?
No.
I want to know if your opinion changed after you saw the video of how exciting it was, but maybe we'll let them see the video first.
No, let's let them see the video. Then we'll talk to Hornaday tomorrow. No. We'll see the video first. Jerry, show them the video.
Okay, we're not going to keep you in suspense anymore. Let's go ahead and show you the Fast Smart 150. Here's Benny Parsons, Dave Despain, and Marty Reed at Richmond, Virginia.
You know, this qualifying is really a concern for Ernie Irvin, because I just talked to Wayne Alton, the truck competition director, and they start this field, if it rains out, the qualifying, they start the truck field by driver points, the top 30 driver points, and Ernie doesn't have 1 point, so that would be a big concern, Jerry.
And, Benny, what would they do now if the rains were to continue to come down? You've talked to some of the officials. Would they try to qualify the trucks in the morning and try to get this whole field set?
Oh, yeah, they're going to try qualifying right up to – the race starts at 2 o'clock tomorrow. They'll probably wait till 1:30 to qualify the trucks if they have to. Qualifying the trucks will be a top priority because, let's face it, they need to get all the trucks drive. Ernie Irvin, Kenny Schrader. Of course, Schrader would be in because they also used 1995 past champions, and Schrader won the race, the truck race at Saugus this year, so he'd be in. And then they go by entry blanks, and I'm not sure where Ernie Irvin's entry blank would fit in the category, but he still has a shot. But hey, the weather looks pretty good for tomorrow, and I think they'll qualify these trucks in the morning, as well as the Winston Cup cars, if we can't get in today. And who says we can't make it today?
Well, we might. We're going to hang around, and someone's peeping through, but there's Hey, Mikey.
Mikey! You're looking through my window. Hey, you making big news here, man.
I haven't made any news.
Well, I mean, they keep talking about you.
No. I got fired.
Yeah. No, did you?
Yeah, last week, so I'm unemployed. Well, I'm not really unemployed. I got a job the rest of this year. I'm just hoping to pick up one for next year.
I didn't know you got fired.
Yeah. But I kind of wanted to get fired, so it worked out good. It was mutual. You know, we've had in our sport a lot of these deals where owners and drivers got unhappy together, and they wanted to split up, and one of them wanted money and the other one wanted this and that, and Chuck and I have been friends a long time, and our deal didn't go that way. You know, we just kind of got together and talked, and he told me he'd like to do something different next year, and I said I would too, and we shook hands, and we're still buddies, and met with the team, and Doug Hewitt and those guys, and we're all still on the same page wanting to. We got a lot to accomplish yet. You know, we're in a good position to have a real good year, and so I'm real happy. Going to announce something hopefully over there at Charlotte, and should be good news for me next year, and it's like everything worked out great.
Well, good for you. Hey, we got to go back truck racing, okay?
Okay, what are we going to watch?
The trucks from Richmond.
Okay, well, stay tuned to ESPN2 as the trucks from Richmond will be coming into your living room as soon as the big guy here and I come back or go away, one or the other.
Okay. We'll come back to, thank you, Mikey and BP. We'll go back to the Fast Mart Super Truck Shootout at Richmond. Let's check in Richmond. Pole qualifying in for the Goodies 500 here at Martinsville Speedway. 42 cars lined up on pit road for a 36-car starting field. Meanwhile, we'll go back and rejoin the Fast Mart Super Truck Series Shootout at Richmond International Raceway.